The click of the lock echoed like a gunshot in the empty office, sealing us in with the ghosts of unpaid overtime and unspoken ambitions. Dennis's hand lingered on the door, his knuckles white, as if he were holding back a flood. "Jack," he said, his voice cracking like thunder over the Hudson. "I've been lying to you. To everyone. And it's killing me." I froze mid-stride, my laptop bag slipping from my shoulder to the carpeted floor with a muffled thud. The city lights blurred through the rain-smeared windows, but nothing could blur the raw hunger in his eyes, the kind that had simmered for months, hidden behind boardroom bravado and late-night emails. In that instant, the man I'd idolized as the unbreakable king of mergers and acquisitions looked like a boy who'd just confessed his first sin. New York never sleeps, but on that stormy Tuesday in October, the 47th floor of Sterling and Associates felt like the loneliest place on earth. I'd been pulling these all-nighters for weeks, chasing the dragon of a promotion that Dennis had dangled like a carrot in front of a starving intern. Jack Harlan, 28, fresh out of Columbia with an MBA that still smelled like new leather, reduced to fetching coffee for the suits while dreaming of corner offices and stock options. Dennis Whitaker, 45, the firm's golden boy turned silver fox, with a jawline that could cut glass and a reputation for turning startups into empires overnight. We'd bonded over bourbon-fueled strategy sessions, his laugh booming like a foghorn in the dim conference rooms, my quips landing just sharp enough to earn a nod of approval. Or so I thought. That night, the merger with Apex Tech had hit a snag, some buried clause in their patents that could tank the whole deal. The team had scattered hours ago, leaving just the two of us hunched over spreadsheets that glowed like accusatory eyes in the dark. "One more hour, Jack," he'd said at 10 p.m., clapping my shoulder a beat too long, his cologne, sandalwood and regret, lingering like a promise. By midnight, the rain was a relentless drumbeat against the glass, and my eyelids felt like lead. He stood up first, stretching like a panther in the shadows, his tie loosened to reveal the hollow of his throat. I watched him cross to the door, my pulse inexplicably quickening. The lock turned, and then those words tumbled out, raw and unfiltered. "I've been lying to you. To everyone." My mouth went dry. "Dennis, what the hell? Unlock it." This isn't funny. But his face, God, his face wasn't laughing. It was stripped bare, the lines around his eyes deepening like cracks in fine china. He stepped closer, the carpet muffling his loafers, until he was close enough that I could see the faint stubble shadowing his jaw, the way his chest rose and fell too fast. "It's not a joke, kid. Sit down." I didn't sit. I backed up until my calves hit the edge of his desk, the cool mahogany biting through my slacks. The office smelled of stale coffee and ozone from the storm, but underneath it all was him, musk and vulnerability, a cocktail I'd never tasted but suddenly craved. "Lying about what? The merger? If this is about firing me." "No," he laughed, a bitter bark that died quick. "Worse. Much worse." He pulled something from his pocket, a worn leather wallet, the kind that had seen better decades. Flipping it open, he thrust it toward me. Inside, nestled against a stack of hundreds, was a photo, two young men, arms slung around each other on a sun-drenched beach, grins wide and unscarred by time. One was Dennis, maybe 25, hair wilder, eyes brighter. The other, Jesus, the other looked like a ghost of me. Same sharp cheekbones, same crooked smile. "Who's that?" My voice was a whisper, the rain outside swelling to drown it. He swallowed hard. Adam's apple bobbing. My brother, Tommy. We grew up in Queens, 2 peas in a pod, dreaming of Wall Street. He was the brave one, though. Came out at 19, back when that could get you disowned or worse. I couldn't. Not then. Not with Dad's belt marks still fresh. His fingers trembled as he traced the photo's edge. Tommy got sick. In 92. Before the cocktails. Before the miracles. He died in my arms, Jack, begging me to live for both of us. To be honest, the words hung there, heavy as the thunder rumbling low. I reached out, not sure if I meant to comfort him or steady myself, my hand brushing his. Electricity sparked, literal, from the static in the air, but it felt like fate's cruel joke. Dennis. I'm sorry. That's not done. He pocketed the wallet, his gaze locking onto mine with an intensity that pinned me in place. I promised him I'd come out. Live loud. But I buried it. Married Sarah in 98. 2 kids. The white picket fence in Westchester. Divorced last year. Irreconcilable differences. The lawyers called it. Truth is, I couldn't touch her anymore. Not after realizing. He trailed off, stepping even closer, his breath warm against my temple. After realizing it was always men. Always you, these past months. The way you laugh at my dumb jokes, the fire in your eyes when we nail a pitch. Jack, I'm gay. And I'm in love with you. The world tilted. Rain lashed the windows like applause for his confession, but my mind reeled. Love, from Dennis Whitaker, the man who'd mentored me, shaped me, made me believe I could conquer this concrete jungle. I felt the pull. Sure, the lingering glances in elevators, the way his knee brushed mine under conference tables. I chalked it up to hero worship, to the grind of ambition. But this was a grenade lobbed into the heart of everything. I need air, I muttered, shoving past him toward the door. My fingers fumbled the lock, slick with sweat. He didn't stop me, just watched with those haunted eyes as I yanked it open, the hallway's fluorescent buzz a lifeline. Jack, wait, but I was gone. Elevator plummeting 47 floors like my stomach. Outside, the storm soaked me in seconds, cab horns blaring a symphony of chaos. I leaned against a lamppost on Broadway, gulping air that tasted like asphalt and regret. Love. From him. To me. In a city that chews up dreams and spits out husks, this felt like the cruelest gift. Back in my shoebox apartment in Hell's Kitchen, I stripped off my wet clothes and collapsed onto the futon. The photo's ghost burned into my retinas. Tommy's smile, my smile, mocked me from the dark. I'd known I was gay since college, a quiet coming out to a handful of friends, hookups in dimly lit bars that left me emptier than before. But Dennis? He was the sun around which my career orbited, the reason I tolerated 80-hour weeks and soul-crushing deadlines. And now, he'd cracked open his chest, offered me his heart on a silver platter. Sleep came in fits, dreams tangled with boardrooms and beaches, his voice whispering promises I wasn't sure I could keep. By dawn, the rain had cleared, leaving the city scrubbed raw. My phone buzzed. Dennis. We need to talk. Coffee? My treat. I stared at the screen, thumb hovering. Part of me wanted to delete his number, bolt for a new job in Philly or Boston, anywhere but here. But another part, the reckless, hungry part, yearned to dive in. What if this was it? The storybook romance amid the skyscrapers. Two lost souls finding home in each other? Fine. Starbucks on 6th, 8 a.m. His reply was instant. See you there. And Jack? Thank you. The coffee shop was a madhouse. Baristas slinging lattes like bullets. The air thick with cinnamon and commuter stress. Dennis was already there, tucked in a corner booth, looking every inch the executive in a crisp navy suit. But his eyes betrayed him, red-rimmed, hopeful. He slid a venti Americano my way, black as my mood. You came, he said simply, like it was a miracle. Curiosity killed the cat, I quipped, but my voice lacked bite. I sipped, the bitterness grounding me. Last night. That was a lot. He nodded, fingers drumming the table, a tell I'd learned meant nerves. I know. I ambushed you. 20 years of repression don't unpack neatly. He leaned in, voice low. But it's true. Every word. You're not just some junior exec to me, Jack. You're like in this shark tank we call a life. Heat crept up my neck. Flattery from anyone else would have rung hollow, but from him, it landed like a velvet glove. And what now? You lock the door again, and we... What? Pretend this is normal. A ghost of a smile. Normal's overrated. How about dinner? Real food, not vending machine crap. Friday. My place in the village. The village, bohemian heart of the city, where cobblestone streets whispered of artists and outcasts. Dangerous territory. Dennis, I'm flattered. Really. But the firm HR policies, optics. And me, I'm a mess. Last serious thing ended because I couldn't commit. Kept one foot out the door. He reached across, his hand covering mine, warm, steady. Then let's keep both feet in. No policies tonight. Just us. I didn't pull away. The touch lingered, a spark jumping the gap. Friday, I agreed, heart hammering like I just closed $1 billion deal. The week blurred into a frenzy of emails and escalations, the merger teetering on a knife's edge. But every ping from Dennis nailed that clause. Drinks after. Felt like foreplay, building tension I couldn't ignore. Colleagues noticed my glow, ribbing me about a mystery girl, oblivious to the truth coiling beneath. Friday arrived like a fever dream. I stood outside his brownstone on West 10th. Rain-slicked steps gleaming under gas lamps. A bottle of Cabernet trembling in my fist. The door swung open, and there he was, jeans, Henley hugging his broad shoulders, sleeves pushed up to reveal forearms corded from weekend hikes upstate. You made it, he breathed, pulling me inside. The place was a revelation. Exposed brick, bookshelves groaning with first editions, a kitchen that smelled of garlic and red wine reduction. No sterile bachelor pad, this was a home, lived in and loved. We cooked together, bumping hips at the island, laughter flowing freer than the Pinot Noir. Steak seared to perfection, stories spilling out, his wild college days at Yale, my disastrous family Thanksgiving where I'd come out to a stunned silence. By dessert, tiramisu from a corner bakery. The air hummed with possibility. We migrated to the couch, a leather beast facing a crackling fireplace, the city a distant murmur. His arm draped the backrest, fingers grazing my neck. Jack, he murmured, turning my face to his. Tell me to stop. I didn't. Our lips met, soft at first, tentative, then hungry, years of restraint unraveling in a rush. His hands roamed, mapping me like uncharted territory, my body arching into his with a gasp. Clothes shed in a trail to the bedroom, skin on skin under Egyptian cotton. His whispers, beautiful, so beautiful, etching into my soul. We made love like men starved, bodies sinking in a rhythm as old as time. Afterward, tangled in sheets, his head on my chest, I traced the scar on his shoulder, a remnant from a childhood fall. Tommy's scar, I asked softly. He nodded against me. Fell chasing me down the block. Always protecting the big brother. A pause. Heavy. I want to protect you, Jack. From this world that chews us up. In that moment, sated and safe, I believed him. New York, with its glittering cruelty, faded. We were just two men, forging something real amid the noise. But truths, like mergers, have hidden clauses. And mine was about to blow wide open. The afterglow stretched into weekends, a secret rhythm pulsing beneath the corporate grind. Mornings tangled in his sheets, coffee brewed strong on his espresso machine, lazy brunches at hidden gems in the East Village where waiters didn't bat an eye at intertwined fingers. Dennis introduced me to his world. Private clubs in Midtown where power players nursed scotch and swapped secrets. Rooftop parties overlooking the Empire State Building where we'd steal kisses in shadowed corners. You're my lucky charm, he'd murmur after a big win, pulling me close in the back of his town car, the partition up, driver discreet. For the first time, ambition felt secondary to this us. Jack Harlan, the kid from Ohio who'd arrived in the city with a duffel and a dream, now had a partner who saw him, really saw him. Not the polished resume, but the doubts that gnawed at 3 a.m., the fear that I'd never measure up. Dennis listened, his thumb stroking my knuckles, offering wisdom forged in boardrooms and heartbreaks. You're enough, he'd say. More than. We kept it quiet at the firm. Of course. HR forms be damned. Sterling and Associates was old money. Old rules. Whispers of don't ask. Don't tell lingering from the 80s. Stolen glances across the bullpen. His foot nudging mine under the table during strategy huddles. The merger closed mid-November. Champagne corks popping in the executive lounge. Toasts to the dream team. His eyes met mine over flutes of Veuve. A wink that promised celebration later. Skin and size. But cracks spiderwebbed in. Subtle at first. Late calls from his ex. Sarah, custody logistics for the kids. He said, voice tight. She's fighting dirty. Wants full weekends. I'd nod. Brew tea. Hold him as he vented about alimony battles and playground politics. Then the trips. Client in Chicago, he'd explain, kissing my forehead before jetting off. I text memes to fill the silence. Get back Kurt, miss you replies that felt like echoes. Thanksgiving loomed. A minefield. Come home with me? I pleaded one crisp November night, walking hand in hand through Washington Square Park, leaves crunching underfoot like brittle bones. My folks in Cleveland, mom's turkey, dad's awkward hugs, had thawed since my coming out, but inviting Dennis? That was nuclear. He squeezed my hand, breath fogging the air. Love to, but the kids. Sarah's got them for the holiday, but pickup's a nightmare. A pause, his gaze distant on the arch. Next year. Promise. I swallowed disappointment, chalking it to logistics. Instead, we hosted our own feast, his brownstone decked in string lights, a turkey from Zabbers, friends from his Yale days who clapped him on the back and eyed me with knowing grins. Finally off the market. Wit. One quipped, a silver-haired venture capitalist with a yacht in the Hamptons. Dennis laughed it off, arm around my waist. Something like that. That night, buzzed on eggnog and endorphins, we danced in the living room to Sinatra crooning from the turntable, his chin on my shoulder. This is it, Jack. You and me against the world. I melted into him, believing every syllable. But belief is fragile, and New York has a way of shattering it. The first real fracture came in December, a Friday that started with promise. I'd nailed a pitch for a new client, biotech disruptor out of Boston, and Dennis pulled me into his office post-meeting, door ajar just enough for propriety. Proud of you, he growled, backing me against the credenza, lips crashing in a kiss that tasted of victory and vice. Dinner tonight? That Italian spot in Soho. Can't, I groaned, nipping his earlobe. Holiday party with my running group. But tomorrow brunch. Then the Rockets. He pulled back, eyes clouding. Actually. Gala. Firm's black tie thing. Mandatory. I deflated. The one you forgot to mention came out sharper than intended. His jaw tightened. It's business, Jack. Schmoozing donors. Sealing deals. Come with, as your +1, or your dirty secret. The words hung, venomous. He sighed, raking a hand through salt and pepper hair. It's complicated. Sarah's there with the kids, optics. You know, exes playing nice for the photos. Photos. The word twisted like a knife. So I'm the intern you fuck on the side? Jesus. No. He cupped my face, thumbs brushing my cheeks. You're everything. This is temporary. Give it time. Time. We'd been everything for 2 months, and it felt like tiptoeing through a minefield. I nodded, throat tight, and slipped out. The party that night was a blur. Sweaty gym bods and Jaeger bombs, laughter that rang hollow. I hooked up with a barista named Tyler, all dimples and no strings, waking with regret and a hangover that mirrored my heart. Dennis called at dawn. Where were you? I waited up. Out. I snapped. Voice gravel. Like you. At your gala. Silence stretched. Then, Jack. Talk to me. I did. Eventually. Curled on his couch that afternoon. His arms a fortress. I need more, I admitted. The hiding. It eats at me. He kissed my temple. I know. Working on it. Therapy. Coming out to the partners after the holidays. His fingers laced with mine. Bear with me. I did. God. I did. Christmas was magic. His place a winter wonderland. Tree strung with heirloom ornaments. Gifts unwrapped by firelight. He gave me a watch. Vintage Rolex. Engraved to my light. I gave him a photo album, snaps from our dates. Candid shots of him laughing. Unguarded. For the days I'm not there, I whispered. New Year's Eve sealed it. Times Square madness. But we watched from his rooftop. Champagne flutes clinking as the ball dropped. To us, he toasted, pulling me into a kiss that drowned out the cheers. Fireworks bloomed overhead, mirroring the burst in my chest. This was love, messy, real, unbreakable. January brought the cold snap, and with it, the merger's fallout. Apex Tech sued, claiming patent infringement. Headlines screaming Sterling's billion-dollar blunder. The office turned tomb-like, layoffs looming like storm clouds. Dennis holed up in war rooms, emerging haggard. I ask you. We'll weather it. He'd assure me in stolen moments. but doubt shadowed his eyes. One blizzard night, snow blanketing the city in hush, he showed up at my door unannounced, overcoat dusted white, takeout bags steaming. "Needed you," he said simply, kicking off boots. We ate cross-legged on the floor, Ty from the spot on Ninth, trading stories of survival, his first job out of Yale, cold calling from a payphone, my scholarship grind, ramen for weeks. Laughter gave way to tears when he confessed the lawsuit's toll. Feels like Tommy all over again, watching something die despite fighting tooth and nail. I held him then, his head in my lap, stroking his hair as sobs racked him. "You're not alone," I murmured. "Not anymore." In the quiet after, bodies entwined on my lumpy futon, he whispered, "Marry me. Someday." When the dust settles, my heart soared, but a whisper of caution nagged. Dust like what? The lawsuit? Or deeper shadows? February's thaw mirrored our thaw, dinners out, bolder touches in cabs. He came out to his sister over FaceTime, her squeals echoing through the brownstone. "About damn time. Denny. Progress. Inch by inch." But on Valentine's, the bomb dropped. I'd planned low-key, reservations at Babbo, a velvet box with cufflinks engraved "Forever Yours." He was late, texting traffic from Westchester. "Kids' school play," he explained when he arrived, flowers wilting in his fist. Over tiramisu, his phone buzzed incessantly. He silenced it, but not before I glimpsed the name, Sarah. "Everything okay?" I asked, fork pausing. "Fine. Just custody mediation tomorrow." His smile didn't reach his eyes. That night, in bed, he made love to me with desperate fervor, as if anchoring us against a tide. But sleep brought dreams. Tommy's photo morphing into mine, Dennis's face twisting in betrayal. Morning light filtered through blinds, and I woke to an empty bed. His side cold. A note on the pillow had to run. "Love you. D. Love you." The words mocked as I dressed for work. The office buzzed with fresh hell. Apex upped their suit to $500 million. Board calling emergency sessions. Dennis was in full war mode, barking orders, barely glancing my way. Lunch. I cornered him in the supply room, copy paper towers witnessing our standoff. "What's going on? You've been distant." "Stress," he clipped, avoiding my eyes. "The case, it's bad. Jack. Could sink us." "Us," pressed, hand on his arm. "Or you and me?" He deflated, pulling me into a hug that smelled of fear. "Both. But we'll fight." That afternoon, an email pinged firm-wide from HR. Sensitivity training, navigating personal relationships in the workplace. My stomach dropped. Had someone seen? Talked? Dennis cornered me post-meeting. "Ignore it." Routine. But routine felt like a lie. That weekend, he canceled our plans, kid's birthday. I wandered the city alone, Valentine's cufflinks heavy in my pocket, ending up at a dive bar in Chelsea, nursing whiskey with strangers. Monday brought the other shoe. I overheard it in the break room, whispers from the paralegals. "Whitaker's ex is lawyering up big. Heard she's got dirt. Affair or something. Affair." The word slithered, coiling tight. That night, I confronted him at his place. Key he'd given me weeks ago, turning with a click that echoed accusation. He was on the couch, scotch in hand, tie discarded. "Jack, the rumors." "Sarah. Is it true?" His face crumpled. "It's not what you think." Then what? I demanded, voice rising. Because it feels like I'm the fool here, playing house while you juggle lives. He stood, pacing. The divorce. She suspects. About us. Threatening to go public. Tank my career. Custody, everything. The secret weaponized. So what now? We end it. No. He grabbed my hands. Desperate. I love you. We'll lawyer up. Fight. But the fight was already lost. In his eyes, I saw the cost. The empire crumbling. Kids collateral. And me? Just another clause in the contract. I need space, I whispered, pulling away. The door closed behind me, snow flurrying once more, burying our fragile world. Space turned into a chasm, the kind that swallows cities whole. March slunk in like a thief, gray skies mirroring the fog in my head. I threw myself into work. Extra hours on damage control for the apex mess, volunteering for every grunt task to avoid the executive floor. Dennis respected the boundary at first. Emails professional, nods in hallways polite as poker faces. But his eyes, God, those eyes, tracked me like a lighthouse beam, pleading in the silence. Nights were the worst. My apartment echoed with ghosts. The scent of his cologne on a forgotten sweater, the half-empty bottle of his scotch on the shelf. I'd scroll Grindr, thumb swiping through torsos and bios, but nothing stuck. Tyler the barista texted once. Missed that smile. Drinks? But I ghosted, guilt gnawing. Betrayal's shadow loomed, not just his, but mine for believing the fairy tale, for handing him my heart unwrapped. Friends noticed. My running buddy, Marco, a fiery Puerto Rican graphic designer with a laugh like summer, dragged me to a queer open mic in Brooklyn. You look like shit, Harlan, he said over IPAs at the afterparty. Spill, I did, haltingly, over falafel wraps in a 24-hour diner, the story spilling like cheap wine. His brow furrowed. Sounds like classic closet case panic. But you deserve the parade, not the shadows. Parade. The word stuck, a seed of rebellion. That weekend, I hit the Pride planning meeting, early bird session for June's march, volunteers buzzing with rainbow flags and megaphones. There, amid chants of love is love, I felt the stirrings of self, the Jack before Dennis, fierce and unapologetic. But New York being New York, collisions were inevitable. Mid-April, the firm threw a resilience rally, morale booster amid the lawsuit limbo, complete with therapists and trust falls in the atrium. I skipped, holing up in a coffee shop off Park, laptop open to job listings in San Francisco. Tech hubs called, promising fresh starts sans baggage. My phone buzzed, unknown number. Jack, to Sarah. We need to talk. Coffee, neutral ground. Sarah Whitaker. Blonde bob, yoga-toned, the ex who'd birthed his twins and now held the guillotine. Curiosity overrode caution. We met at a quiet spot in Tribeca, her in athleisure, me in rumpled button-down. She stirred her matcha, eyes sharp as a deposition. You're not what I expected, she said. No preamble. Neither are you. Petty, but true. Close. She was weary. Crow's feet from smiles and strains. A wedding band 10-line faded but accusatory. She leaned in. Dennis. He's always been a fortress. Built walls higher than those towers you climb. A wry smile. But you got inside. And now it's crumbling everything. guilt twisted. I'm not the villain here. No, she agreed, surprising me. But the catalyst. He came out to the kids last month. Messy, tears, but honest. For you, her gaze softened. I hate him for the lies, but love him for loving them enough to try. And you're collateral in this war. War. The word chilled. What do you want? A truce? Or my head? Truth. She slid a photo across, grainy, from a tabloid site. Dennis at the gala, arm around a young associate, lips too close to an ear. Not you, but others. Before you. He's scared, Jack, of losing it all. But losing you, that's the real terror. I stared at the image, nausea rising. Others. Plural. The locked door that night, had it been rehearsal? My voice cracked. How many? She shrugged, pained. Enough to question. But you're different. I see it in his emails, the poetry, the panic. Fight for him. Or walk. But decide. I walked. Straight to his brownstone, pounding the door until it flew open. He stood there, shirtless, hair tousled, post-workout glow or fresh from bed. Jack! How many? I thrust the photo at him, voice steel. His face drained of color. It's not God. It's innocent. Schmoozing. That's all. Bullshit. Tears burned. Sarah showed me. Said there were others. He deflated against the frame. One. Last year. A consultant. Rebound from the separation. Mistake. His hand reached. Tentative. But you, Jack, you're the truth. The one that matters. I shoved past. Into the living room. Memories assaulting the fireplace. Our first dance. Lies on lies. You locked me in that office, bared your soul, and it was all performance. No! He spun me, eyes wild. Tommy's photo, that was real. My fear, my love real. I fucked up, hid parts because this city devours vulnerability. But I'm trying. Therapy twice a week. Out to the board next month. Trying. The word mocked. And the kids? Sarah? When do I stop being the side quest? You're not. He dropped to his knees. Dennis Whitaker, Titan of finance. On my level. You're the epic. Marry me. Now. Courthouse. Tomorrow. Fuck the optics. The proposal hung. Absurd and aching. Laughter bubbled through tears. You're insane. Desperately. He grinned. That crooked smile melting defenses. Say yes. I hauled him up, kissing him fierce salt and need. Yes. But no more secrets. We tumbled to the couch. Reclaiming territory. Bodies a battlefield turned sanctuary. That night, we planned simple vows. Witnesses from his sister, my Marco. A middle finger to the storm. But storms brew quiet. The next week, the lawsuit escalated. Apex's lawyers unearthed emails. Not ours, but damning. Dennis's signature on a dodgy NDA from years back. Tommy's old startup tangled in it. Creative accounting, he called it. Pale over takeout sushi. To save his company. Before he got sick. Fraud. The word poisoned the air. You covered it up? Loaned money off books. It was gray, Jack. For family, gray. In black and white courtrooms, gray was felony. The firm suspended him pending investigation. Headlines screaming Whitaker's web of deceit. Reporters camped his stoop. flashes like paparazzi vultures. I stood by him, court dates in hushed chambers, his hand clammy in mine. "We'll beat it," I lied, echoing his old bravado. Nights, we'd huddle in my apartment, safer from prying eyes, trading whispers of escape. A cabin in the Adirondacks, sabbatical in Paris. May bloomed, defiant with dogwoods in Central Park. We stole moments there, picnics under the Bethesda fountain, his head in my lap, reading Kerouac aloud. "On the road," he murmured. "With you," but the noose tightened. Sarah called again, he's spiraling. "The kids ask about you." Guilt gnawed deeper. I'd met them once. Accidental soccer game in Central Park. Twins tumbling like puppies. "Uncle Jack?" The boy had grinned, handing me a dandelion. Now, distance felt like abandonment. The breaking point came mid-month. A boardroom ambush. I was called in witness to irregular communications. Sat there, stone-faced, as suits dissected our emails. Miss your touch innocuous amid merger jargon, but twisted into leverage. Personal entanglements compromised judgment. The chairwoman droned, her gaze ice. Fired. Not outright furlough, but the message clear. Dennis raged in the parking garage after, punching a pillar till knuckles bled. "They can't touch you." "I'll quit." "Stop." I bandaged him in my car, tears hot. "This is poison." Fighting their war. He cupped my face. "Then run with me." Resign. Pack a bag. Vermont, small town. Fresh start. Tempting. The city that birthed us now choked. But running, that was surrender. "No," I said, firm. "We face it. Together." Pride weekend arrived. A riot of color against our gray. We marched hand in hand down Fifth, his grip iron through the throng. Chants of "We're here," we're queer drowned doubts, rainbows a bomb. At the after-party in the village, drunk on unity and rose, he pulled me on stage for karaoke, tiny dancer, off-key and perfect. The crowd hooped, strangers hugging us like family. That high crash Sunday. Package at my door, no sender. Inside, the photo of him and the associate. Blown up, annotated with dates, names. Blackmail or warning? My hands shook as I dialed him. "Jack? What's?" "Someone knows." "About the gala." "The others." Silence. Then, "Sarah." "No." Deeper. Paranoia clawed. Apex? Rival firm? Or ghost from his past? Tommy's shadow. Unpaid debts. We met at a neutral diner in Queens, his old stomping grounds, formica tables scarred like memories. Over eggs that congealed untouched, he confessed more. The NDA. It wasn't just money. Tommy's partner, after he died, guy named Rick. Bitter, claimed I stole the IP. Buried it with a payout. But if he talks, Rick. The name ignited. A quick search on my phone. Obit from '05. Overdose. Clean slate or cover? "You're scaring me," I admitted, fork clattering. "Good." He gripped my wrist. "Means you're alive. We end this, hire a PI, dig up the dirt." Desperation bonded us tighter. Sex that night frantic, reclaiming control in sweat-slicked sheets. But dawn brought clarity. Love wasn't armor against skeletons. June sweltered, the city a steam bath. The PI's report landed like a gut punch. Rick alive, relocated to Jersey, nursing grudges in a dive bar. He talks to reporters, The email read. Apex's brief mentions, anonymous sources. Confrontation time. Dennis insisted on going alone. My mess. But I tagged along. Shotgun in his Beamer. Nerves electric. The bar was a time capsule. Neon flickering Budweiser. Jukebox crooning Springsteen. Rick slouched at the end. Grizzled. Eyes milky with booze. You Whitaker? He slurred, spotting us. Dennis slid onto a stool. Voice steady. We need to talk. Tommy. The name ignited. Rick's face twisted. Rage. Grief. My Tommy. The one you let die while chasing dollars. I loved him. Dennis's voice broke. Tried to save him. The company. The meds. Lies. Rick spat, leaning in. You buried us. That NDA? Theft. And now, this pretty boy. His gaze raked me, leering. Paying off sins with fresh meat? I bristled, but Dennis's hand on my thigh anchored. Name your price. End this. Rick laughed. Hollow. Price? Your empire's dust anyway. But for old times. Walk away from him, thumb jabbing my way. Or I spill to every rag from here to LA. The ultimatum hung. Bar's haze thickening. Dennis's jaw clenched. No deal. We left. Rick's curses chasing. In the car. Silence screamed. He won't stop, I said finally. I know. Dennis's hands shook on the wheel. But neither will I. That resolve cracked the next day. Court hearing, Apex's motion to depose him. I waited outside, pacing marble halls, when Sarah appeared, kids in tow. Jack, she said softly, twins hiding behind her legs. Hey, awkward wave. Mommy, Uncle Jack. The girl tugged her skirt, beaming. Heart wrench. Hey, munchkins. Sarah knelt, whispering to them, then stood. He's in there fighting for them. For you. Don't let the bastards win. Inside, the gavel fell, deposition granted. Dennis emerged, ashen. 2 weeks. They'll drag it all out. We drove in silence, city blurring. At my place, he collapsed on the bed. I can't lose you. Or them. You won't. But necessary. July's heat wave baked secrets to the surface. The deposition leaked, snippets in the Post. Whitaker's gay affair rocks firm. Outed. Spectacularly. Calls flooded. Bored fury. Ex-colleagues' pity texts. But queer networks rallied, fundraisers popped. Lawyers pro bono. Through it, we clung. Picnics in Prospect Park. His reading bedtime stories via Zoom to the kids. Love deepened, tempered in fire. But fire consumes. Late July, the PI called again, Rick dead. Heart attack, they said. Or poison, autopsy pending. Paranoia peaked. Someone silenced him, Dennis whispered, pacing my kitchen. Who? Apex? Or me? The words hung. Suicidal. If I'd paid. No. I pulled him close. We're in this. August broke the dam. Mediation with Sarah, joint custody. But she dropped the bomb. He's using you, Jack. To deflect. The affair? Cover for embezzlement. Embezzlement. The word detonated. What? She slid documents, bank transfers, siphoned funds from Tommy's old account. For the payout. And more. Rick knew. I confronted him that night, papers trembling. Tell me it's not true. His face crumpled. It is. But for good, Tommy's legacy, the kids' college. Lies. Betrayal roared. You used me. The locked door. The confessions. A script to bind me. No, he reached, but I recoiled. Out. The door slammed, final as judgment. Alone. I wept. For the boy who'd believed. The man who'd shattered. New York laughed outside. Indifferent. September's equinox brought no balance. Just the slow bleed of aftermath. The apartment reeked of takeout and isolation. I'd quit the firm weeks prior. Freelance gigs trickling in like pity tips. Marco force-fed me kale smoothies. His Brooklyn loft a revolving door of tough love and takeout. Cry it out. Poppy, he'd say, arm around my shoulders during queer as folk marathons. Then burn his letters. Letters. Dennis sent them daily, handwritten, slipped under my door or left at the lobby desk. I never meant to hurt you. The money was a mistake, but you were real. Folded crisp, scented faintly of his cologne, each one a dagger twist. I burned the first batch in the sink. Blue flame devouring words, but save the last. Tommy would have loved you. As I do. Forgive me? Forgiveness felt like treason. The scandal snowballed. Dennis indicted on fraud charges. Bail posted by shadowy investors. House arrest in the brownstone. Tabloids feasted Wall Street Lothario's double life. Queer mags spun its sympathetic, closeted XX tragic fall. But the betrayal stung universal. Sarah got full custody. Twins relocated to her sisters in Connecticut. Their dandelion innocence collateral. I avoided the village. Detours through Soho's galleries. But ghosts haunted. A cafe where we'd shared croissants. A bench in the park etched with our initials, his idea. Impulsive. Sleep evaded. Chased by dreams of locked doors and phantom touches. Grinder tempted. A chiseled architect. Drinks at industry, but mid-kiss in a bathroom stall. His stubble grating. I bolted. Not ready, I muttered, fleeing into the night. October chilled the air, and resolve hardened. I landed a gig, consulting for a nonprofit in Harlem, queer youth outreach. Mornings mentoring kids with stories like mine, closeted teens sketching futures in colored pencils, mended fractures. Love ain't linear, I told a shy 16-year-old named Eli, his eyes wide behind glasses. It's a detour, but you steer. Steering led me to therapy, group sessions in a Chelsea basement, circle of survivors swapping war stories. There, amid nods and tissues, I unpacked Dennis. The mentor-turned-monster, the love laced with lies. He made me feel seen, I confessed one rainy Tuesday. But seeing now, it's blinders off. The group leader, a silver-haired dyke named Rita, squeezed my knee. Scene is start. Whole is the goal. Whole. The word echoed as leaves turned. City ablaze in crimson. Freelance picked up pitch decks for startups. Remote from coffee shops overlooking the East River. Financial cushion grew. Enough for a sublet in a brighter walk-up. Windows framing sunrises over the bridges. Dennis's trial loomed, November docket. Fraud and wire counts stacking like indictments. I got subpoenaed as witness, character reference. The DA's office called it. Dread coiled, but duty called. Prep sessions in sterile conference rooms. Lawyers grilling. Intimate since when? Financial entanglements? Love? I snapped at one pinstripe prick. Not transaction. The night before court. He called first contact since the blowout. Voicemail. Voice horse. Jack, if you hear this, thank you for everything. Win or lose. No, I deleted it, heart hammering. But sleep brought visions. His knees on my carpet. Proposal raw. Marry me. Court day dawned crisp. Courthouse steps mobbed with press. I slipped in a side door. Suit ill-fitting. Palms slick. The room was wood-paneled pomp. Jury box empty for prelims. Dennis at the defense table thinner. Hollow-cheeked. Orange jumpsuit a mockery of his tailored armor. Our eyes met, his widening. A flicker of hope crushed by chains. Testimony was blur. Yes, we were involved. No coercion. Questions probed. Did he discuss finances? Influence your work? Lies by omission. His specialty. I held steady, voice even, but inside, tempests raged. After, in the hall, Sarah waited elegant in wool, eyes red. You did good, she said, hugging fierce. Kids drew you pictures. Want to see? Photos on her phone. Stick figure Jack with rainbow hair, holding hands with a suited daddy. Tears pricked. Tell them. Uncle Jack misses them. She nodded. He misses you too. Every night, I walked out into autumn wind, free but fractured. That evening, Marco dragged me to a gala nonprofit fundraiser at the Met, chandeliers dripping light on gowns and tuxes. Amid jazz swells and champagne flutes, I danced with strangers, laughter tentative but real. A donor, tall, bookish curator named Theo whirled me, his hand warm at my waist. You're glowing, he said, breath minty. Rebirth, I quipped, spinning out. Rebirth suited. November blurred into Thanksgiving. Solo turkey in my new place. Zoom call with Cleveland folks. Mom's voice crackling. Proud of you, Jackie. Come home soon. Home. The word shifted, untethered from brick and mortar. Dennis's trial verdict dropped December 1st. Guilty on lesser counts. 18 months probation. Restitution. No jail. Miracle of moneyed justice. Headline side, Whitaker dodges bullet. I read it in a diner. Eggs cooling. A neutral ache. He texted new number, courtesy of Rita's network. Free. Coffee? One last time. Against better judgment, I went. Neutral ground again, Bryant Park. Benches dusted with first snow. He arrived bundled, cheeks flushed, looking almost himself. You came. Closure, I said, sipping cocoa. He nodded, gaze tracing my face like a map. I deserved the cage. But you were my light, Jack. Still are. Words I'd once craved now curdled. Light for your shadows. But I need my own. I know. He slid an envelope across Tommy's photo. Original, edges soft. For you. Keep or burn. Your call. I took it, fingers brushing. No spark, just echo. Take care, Dennis. You too. He stood, lingering. If ever. But I was already walking, snowflakes melting on my lashes, the park's carousel chiming farewell. Winter deepened, holidays a gauntlet. Christmas Eve, Theo invited me caroling. Queer choir in the village, voices soaring O Holy Night under twinkling trees. His tenor harmonized with my baritone, post-sing mulled wine warming us on a stoop. Stay? He asked, as kind. I did. His place cozy, cluttered with artifacts from global digs, welcome tentative. Kisses soft, no rush, bodies exploring without agenda. Morning brought waffles and wonder. This could be. New Year dawned hopeful, ball dropping amid cheers. Resolutions, travel, write that novel, love without ledgers. Theo and I dated slow, steady, museum dates and home-cooked tagginess. No locked doors, just open windows. Spring teased early, cherry blossoms rioting in the botanic garden. One April afternoon, post-jog, I ran into Sarah Central Park Loop, twins on bikes, training wheels wobbling. "Jack!" they squealed, piling on. I knelt, hugging tight. "Look at you, big kids," Sarah smiled, weary but warm. "Dennis is better. Community service, mentoring at the center. Asks about you. Tell him hi, neutral, but kind." The boy tugged my sleeve. "Daddy says you're brave. Like Superman. Heart swell." "Your dad's the brave one," Summer hummed. "Pride a triumph, marching with the nonprofit. Eli at my side, banner high." Theo cheered from the sidelines, later joining for after-party revels. Love bloomed quiet, weekends upstate, his hand in mine on hiking trails, stories swapped like treasures. But ghosts lingered. July heat wave. I found the photo in a drawer, Tommy and Dennis, beach grins eternal. I framed it, hung on the wall, reminder, not regret. August brought a letter, Dennis, postmarked Westchester. Eli's story reminded me, detours lead home. Found mine in the ashes. Wishing you yours. D. I wrote back, brief, honest. Detour taken. Home found. Be well. September's back-to-school buzz mirrored my pivot. Full-time at the nonprofit. Director of programs. Shaping futures. Theo proposed collaboration, an exhibit on queer history and finance. Nodding to shadows without naming. October winds whispered change. One blustery night. Rooftop party at Marco's, city sprawl glittering below. Theo pulled me aside. Ring box simple. "Not yet," he said. "But soon." "You in?" I kissed him. Fierce. All in. November now. A year from the lock's click. I stand at that office window, visiting a client on the 47th. Irony's gift. Rain streaking glass. Skyline defiant. The truth Dennis revealed wasn't just his. It was mine. To love boldly, forgive softly, rise unbroken. New York endures, as do we. Heart scarred, but whole. The rain that November evening mirrored the one from a year prior, relentless sheets blurring the skyline into a watercolor smear. I lingered at the window of that 47th floor conference room, wrapping a client pitch on sustainable fintech. The irony not lost. Sterling and Associates had rebounded, mergers humming under new blood, but ghosts echoed in the carpet weave, the hum of fluorescence. Theo waited downstairs. Our exhibit gala tonight, hidden ledgers, queer voices in American finance, a tapestry of stories from Stonewall to Silicon Alley. My contribution, a panel on vulnerability in boardrooms, Tommy's photo projected large, Dennis's permission granted via Sarah's email months back. Ready, Theo texted, his curator calm a bomb. Descending, I replied, elevator dinging descent. The gala swirled in the Met's Temple of Dender, Nile waters lapping marble under starry projections, champagne flutes clinking like ice in old scotch. Donors in black tie mingled with activists in leather vests, laughter bridging eras. Theo shone, tux sharp, introducing me with a hand at my low back. Jack Harlan, our fearless program lead. Handshakes, nods, the curator from MoMA gushing over the catalog. But my eyes scanned, unbidden old habits. And there, across the reflecting pool, was Dennis. He looked transformed, hair cropped close, salt dominant, a simple blazer over button-down, no ties noose. Beside him, Sarah, arm looped casual, twins grown leggy at 10, whispering excitedly about the mummies. No tension in their stance. Allies, perhaps, forged in fire's forge. Our gazes locked, electric across the crowd. He smiled small, genuine, and raised his glass. I nodded back, throat tight, excusing myself from Theo's cluster. Jack, his voice, unchanged, warm as aged bourbon. Dennis, we clasped hands, firm, no linger. You clean up nice, he chuckled, glancing at the exhibit. Your work, powerful. Tommy'd approve, heat pricked. Borrowed his light. Sarah approached, twins trailing. Uncle Jack, they chorused, hugging my legs. The girl, Lily, thrust a sketchpad, drew the story you told Mommy. About the Beach Brothers, watercolor waves, two figures hand in hand, rainbows arching. Beautiful, I breathed, kneeling. Like you, the boy Max eyed me shy. Daddy says you're happy now. I glanced up, Dennis's nod subtle. I am. And you, probation's cakewalk, he quipped. Mentoring at the youth center, your old gig. Turns out, I like fixing what I break. Sarah squeezed his arm. He's good at it. We co-parent like pros now. Therapy's magic. Pride swelled, unbidden. Glad. Theo materialized. Intuitive. Hand finding mine. Everything good? Old friends. I introduced. Easy flow. Dennis's grip respectful. Sarah's warm. The twins peppered Theo with questions about Egyptian gods. His answers animated, drawing laughs. As they drifted to the canapes, Dennis lingered. One thing. Before I go, I braced. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Velvet. Innocuous. Not what you think. Inside. Keys bronze. Worn. The brownstone. Selling it next month. But the garden out back. Tommy's roses still bloom. Thought. Visit sometime. Smell the past. Without the chains. Tears stung. But I pocketed them. Maybe. With company. Nod to Theo, who smiled unknowing. Fair. He clapped my shoulder. Light. You deserve the parade, Jack. Every color. And he was gone. Swallowed by the crowd. Sarah's hand waving farewell. Theo pulled me to dance. Slow sway to Nina Simone's velvet croon. Bodies sinking effortless. Mystery man? He murmured. Chin on my shoulder. Chapter closed. Kiss to his temple. This one's just beginning. The night unfolded. Speeches lauding resilience. Toasts to futures unwritten. Later, in our cab uptown, Theo's head on my shoulder. City lights streaking. I exhaled. Betrayal scar ached faint. A tattoo of lessons. Love demands truth, not perfection. Forgiveness frees the forgiver. December crept. Holidays hybrid. My family's Cleveland warmth blended with Theo's London kin via video. Twins ornaments joining the tree. New Year's. We hosted intimate. Rooftop under heaters. Ball dropping distant but bright. To detours. Theo toasted. Ring glinting simple gold. Slipped on post-gala. To home, I countered, kissing him deep. Spring 2026 bloomed verdant. Exhibit touring DC, then LA. I keynote in San Francisco, rainbow flags snapping, words flowing. We lock doors to hide, but the real key unlocks from within. Back in New York, summer's sticky. We escaped to the Cape, Theo's family cottage. Dunes whispering secrets. There, under star-pricked skies, I scattered Tommy's photo ashes, not burning, but releasing into the tide. Goodbye, I whispered, waves claiming. Dennis's wedding invite arrived fall, him and Sarah. No. A quiet ceremony to a partner met at the center. A quiet graphic designer named Paul. As kind as dawn. I RSVP'd yes. Theo in tow. The brownstone garden. Roses rioting. Vows exchanged under arbor. I do, Dennis said. Voice steady. Paul's hand in his. After beers on the patio. Twins chasing fireflies. Full circle, he said. Clinking bottles. Human, I replied. Messy, but human. Years folded, Eli graduated. My first mentee. Hug fierce at commencement. Theo and I adopted. A rambunctious boy from the foster system. Curls wild. Questions endless. Papa Jack. Tell the locked door story. I did. Sanitized. Once, a man locked a door to share a secret. It hurt, but it healed. Showed me how to open my own. Winters warmed with age. But New York's bite endured. On our 10th anniversary courthouse vows, Marco officiating, we returned to that 47th floor, now a non-profit hub. Rain lashed windows, but inside, lights glowed. Full circle, Theo echoed, arm around our son. I pulled him close, kissing slow. To truths imagined. And lived. The city thrummed below. Endless. Forgiving. In its heart, we thrived. Not unbroken, but beautifully bent. Love's lock clicked open, and we stepped free.